Hey guys, check out Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0, brought to you by Mama Jumbo Shrimp, a fully updated second edition, reviewed and revised by an expert panel of certified Italian wine ambassadors from across the globe. The book also includes an edition by Professore Attilio Scienza, Italy's leading vine geneticist. To pick up a copy today, just head to Amazon.com or visit us at mamajumboshrimp.com.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today I'm delighted to begin a new mini-series that highlights the winners of the prestigious 5-star Wines and Wines Without Walls competition that took place earlier this year. Over the course of 2 long days, and they were long days because I was there at the end of March and early April, actually just before Vinitaly, more than 2,200 wines were tasted by an international jury of wine professionals, including Italian winemakers, enologists, wine consultants, and international journalists and professionals who all have our own different points of view. So we were all tasting and scoring this incredible array, and the wines that scored more than 90 points were both awarded certificates and also will be included in the 5-star Wines and Wine Without Walls 2023 book, while the very best wines in each category were singled out for special awards. So today it's my great pleasure to welcome my guest, José Rallo, owner, the CEO of the Donnafugata Winery in Sicily, whose wine, Ben Rae, Passito di Pantelleria, won the Best Sweet Wine Award. Congratulations, José, and thank you very much for being my guest. How are you today?
Yes, I'm here. Very fine. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be with you.
And you're in Marsala, in the historic headquarters of the Donnafugata Winery.
Exactly. My family started in 1851, and we are now, we have renovated the cellars, and we are now here like headquarters of our Donnafugata Winery.
I know that the Donnafugata Winery is one of the most iconic wine estates in Sicily, and the Rallo family, your family, is really considered one of the pioneering companies that helped to put quality wines of Sicily very much on the world wine map. And yet it's still very much a family winery with strong family values. Can you tell us something of the Rallo family story and the history of the Donnafugata Winery?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for your words. Donnafugata Winery was founded in 1983, so nearly 40 years ago. The project was to renovate totally the style of the Sicilian wine and the perception of Sicilian wine in Italy and around the world. My mother Gabriella and my father Giacomo were a beautiful couple. They were in love and they were passionate. So their energy was right what it was necessary to do this great project. My mother inherited a vineyard in the center of Western Sicily in a region called Contessa Entellina. And there she started cultivating vineyards and also making a lot of experimentation. First of all, with the international grape varieties, and then little by little also using the native grapes. Today, Sicily is very important for the biodiversity. We have 70 native grapes, typically Sicilian, so we have the opportunity of producing wines very different one from the other, and we also have grapes that we can use in the future. So we can also hope that something new is coming in the next years.
Okay, well, that's a beautiful story about how your parents really wanted to revalue Sicily and its wine culture, this wine culture that goes back 2,000 years. And indeed, I think from the outset, wine culture and the arts have been very much at the heart of Donnafugata.
Yes, very, very much, because Gabriella, my mother, was not only fond of viticulture, but also of art. She was very creative, and she launched the idea of using artistic labels for our wines. She found a very special person, Stefano Vitale, an illustrator. He was illustrating books for children, and she found that his designs were perfect to produce artistic labels for our wines. And so she is briefing the artist every time we produce a new wine, and we are sending him some samples of the wine so that he can learn about the personality of the wine, and then he will design a woman that will be the main visual of our label. We have a collection of 30 different artistic labels. Since the last 30 years, we have been working together. So it's really a great dialogue between art and wine that we have been approaching along these years.
Wow, 30 years of collaboration. It's a beautiful collaboration. I really love the labels because they have such a vibrancy. They have the colors of Sicily in them, and they have this vibrancy that I think is also reflected in the wines. They're quite different and unusual for wine labels with so much, the illustrations and these beautiful colors. And so I think it's a wonderful collaboration. Now, of course, the name of the estate, Donnafugata, the name of the country estate of the noble aristocratic family of the Prince of Salina at the time of Risorgimento in Giuseppe Tomasi di Lampedusa's famous novel, The Leopard. How did the name of the estate come to be? Why did your parents decide to name the estate Donnafugata?
Well, it was a great challenge because they studied a lot of different opportunities for this name. And my mother thought about, something that was very important for Sicilian image. The novel of Tomasi di Lampedusa, The Leopard. It was very famous, and we discovered that it is the most translated Italian novel around the world. So very famous, the story of the novel. And in this novel, we have a special estate, which is called Donnafugata Estate. And in the estate, a Donnafugata Palace. In this palace, we can find some of the most important scenes of the novel. And it was called Donnafugata Palace because a queen took refuge in this palace. And it is a real historic person. And so my mother liked very much the name because of this reason, because it was a positive image of Sicily. But I like to think also something else about our name, because Donnafugata means escaping woman. And this woman, in my mind, is also my mother, who was an English teacher when she inherited the vineyards, and she decided to change completely her life and become a viticulturist. And so for me, escaping woman is my mother, looking forward, always ready for new challenges.
Okay, that's a beautiful story, both linking it to this great Sicilian novel and as well to your mother's own story and how she created this estate together with your father. To me as well, the name is also brings to mind what you're doing with your wines in combining the tradition of Sicily as the Prince of Salina, but also at this time in Italy of Risorgimento, of new traditions coming in. And that it's sort of reflected in your wine Tancredi to me, because Tancredi is both modern, looking ahead, but also has its foot in the tradition. And you do that with your wines, don't you?
Yes, of course. We are traditional because we try to be very much related to the territory, to what it is typical of our soils, of our native grapes. But we are also innovative because my father Giacomo brought the cold technology from California to Sicily. And so in the 80s, it was really new to ferment the must under controlled temperature. And this was really important to change the style of the wines. We obtained wines that are very much fruity, with a big freshness, with a great aromatic potential. And this was thanks to the cold technologies. And cold technologies are also very important when we refine the wines, either in the tanks or either in the barrique, or when they are bottled. So in a region which is quite a warm region like Sicily, cold technology can help very much maintaining quality and enhancing the quality of the wines. Of course, I must say something else, that we use energy, we consume energy to control the temperature of our cellars, of our tanks, but we produce also clean energy to balance the consumption of energy. So since 30 years, we started producing clean energy with a solar power plant.
Okay. Well, that's actually very important in the history of modern Sicilian wines, the renaissance of wines, how your father and other pioneering winemakers in Sicily began to harness modern technology to really change the style and character and potential of wines from Sicily, particularly perhaps in Western Sicily where you are now, where we have the traditional Marsalas, the oxidative style wines where the heat and that cold fermentation is not so necessary. So it really was a revolution in wine. Now, you've mentioned Contessa Entellina and that you're in Marsala and you have an estate in Vittoria as well as in Etna. But I'd like now to focus on a very special place, an estate that is the source of Ben Rae, the special sweet wine that won this prestigious 5-star Best Sweet Wine Award. So, José, could you please take us to Pantelleria, the island, describe it, and tell us what makes it such a special place to visit, as well as such a special place to grow grapes and make wine?
Well, it's a pleasure for me. Pantelleria is really a very, very special place. Nobody can figure how it is displaced until you get there. It's a volcanic island between Sicily and Africa. In terms of climate, probably is more African than European or Sicilian. It's very dry, very few water, rain. It's very, very windy. And these two specific characters of the climate guide the farmers to a specific type of vineyards. We need to cultivate the grapes in a bush form. So very, very low, with branches that develop horizontally compared to the soil. And around the plant, you can see like a hole. And in this hole, we try to collect the humidity of the night. And this is the only water that can help the vine to survive. And these small vines are called alberello. alberello typical of Pantelleria. They are UNESCO heritage, and this is very important for us. And they are cultivated in terraces because there is a mountain in the center of the island. And so most of the vineyards are in a steep slope. So the terraces and the small bush wines are oblige us to a lot of labor for cultivating the vineyards. Just think that we need 4 times human labor cultivating the vineyards in Pantelleria compared to a regular quality vineyard in Sicily. So it's really, really expensive. And it is also very important to motivate the people that are working with us. But they know that they are working for Ben Rie production. So they know that they are working for a very unique and very special wine like our Passito di Pantelleria.
Okay, so you've painted a beautiful picture of this harsh volcanic island and the heat and the wind and this UNESCO-cited unique form of viticulture that I suppose has been carried out in this traditional way for generations and centuries and maybe even millennia. This growing of the vines in pits by the alberello and that intense labor that it takes to cultivate the vines compared to anywhere else. And a particular vine, the Zibibbo. Tell us about this.
Italian Wine Podcast. If you think you love wine as much as we do, then give us a like and a follow anywhere you get your pods.
Well, the Zibibbo, it's a type of muscat grape. So it is a very special grape that we cultivate on these volcanic soils. Because of this combination, special grape and special soils, we have very, very special must from these grapes. The Zibibbo is a grape with thick skin that it is perfect to dry. So if we wanted to produce our Passito di Pantelleria, we harvest the best grapes, the most ripened grapes at mid of August, and we lay them on the sun in the wind of the island. It takes about 20 to 25 days to dry the grapes at the right point, at the point that we need to there to be. And at the end of August, we have a second harvest, and we collect the grapes that will be pressed to obtain the fresh must to the raisins, and we need to destem the raisins by hand. That means berry after berry, we destem the raisins, and these berries are plunged into the must during fermentation. So we have a fermentation which is a little bit like a red wine, also a maceration. And this fermentation lasts at least 30 to 40 days. So as I told you, and you can understand, the production process is very complicated, is very long, is very delicate. And I must say that this production process is a combination of traditional and innovative rules, and it has been invented by Donnafugata and especially by my father Giacomo.
Okay, so this is very interesting that the passito, the uva passita, this drying of the early harvested Zibibbo, and then that careful destemming, those grapes, the dried grapes, are then added to fresh must, and the fermentation carries on with a rimontaggio or a capello sommerso to keep the skins underneath the must.
Exactly. We need to keep the skins inside the must for a certain amount of time. Then when we think that the raisins have given all the sugars and so all the aromas and all the acids, we take away the raisins and we put another quantity of raisins. And this will be for 3 times.
Okay. 3 different times you add the uva passita.
Exactly, three times and the amount in the end is 70 kilos of dried grapes added into 100 kilos of must. And the total is that we need 4 kilos of grapes to produce 1 liter of Passito di Pantelleria.
Oh my goodness, wow. So huge concentration and an absolutely exquisite wine that results this gorgeous dessert wine that still it's sweet certainly, but it has such complexity of flavors and aromas, and I think an acidity that remains in the wine that keeps it very, very fresh.
Exactly. What is really distinctive is the acidity. It's very difficult to guess how much sugar there is in the wine because the acidity is really a lot and it makes it very tricky. This wine is perfect as a dessert wine, as you said before, but it's also wine for salted dishes. I like very much with foie gras, for instance, or blue cheeses like Roquefort, like Gorgonzola, seasoned cheeses.
Oh, how interesting. I wouldn't have thought of trying that with the strong cheeses. The pecorino cheeses of Sicily?
Yes, the pecorino, or I don't know if you know the caciocavallo, the cheese made in the eastern part of Sicily.
Okay. Now, while we're on Pantelleria and while we're talking about food, are there any particular dishes that are unique to Pantelleria, not that would be paired with Ben Rae, but perhaps with some of your other Donnafugata wines, dishes that anybody who visits Pantelleria or indeed that western part of Sicily should make sure and sample?
Something very typical is called the chuka. It's a kind of mix of vegetables like peppers, aubergines, celery, capers. It's cooked in the oven and onions, and many times they put also bread crumble all over. No, and this is chuka. So
Oh, I've not heard of that. That sounds delicious.
yeah, it's like a side dish.
Right.
And as for dessert, one very typical dessert of Pantelleria Island is the bacio pantesco. It's like two biscuits. Inside the two biscuits, you find ricotta cheese, fresh ricotta cheese, seasoned with sugar and lemon skin. You know?
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. The lemon rind. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds delicious too.
Then there is fish, of course. It's an island, so you can find swordfish, for instance. They can cook it in the oven with capers, always ciliegino, the small round tomato. This is also very, very, very nice fish. It is always fresh.
Yes, wonderful. Now, finally, Jose, can you tell us about wine hospitality with Donnafugata? Our listeners who are located around the world often like to visit the places they hear about and taste the wines at the source. What are the opportunities for visiting your estates, perhaps in Pantelleria, but mainly I'm thinking on the mainland of Sicily?
Well, we are opened in all our wineries, so from Marsala to Etna, Vittoria. We are open all the year round. Is it possible to visit the winery and to choose among different tastings with or without food pairings with typical products of the territories? Then we have Pantelleria and Contessa Entellina, our main estate in the middle of Western Sicily, where is it possible to go from May till September, so in the high season. And also there is it possible to visit the vineyards and to taste the typical products matched with our wines.
Okay, well, we've talked about a little bit about your wines, but Donnafugata produces very impressive range of wines from these various estates, and I urge our listeners to seek them out. Notice these beautiful, vibrant, colorful labels, and to taste the wines because they are really, really special, and especially this best sweet wine, the Ben Bréa, that we've been talking about. José, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you this morning, learning about the Rallo family and the Donnafugata winery. Congratulations once more for winning this prestigious 5-star Wines Award for the best sweet wine. And grazie e arrivederci.
Grazie mille. Thank you so much. And enjoy wine. Enjoy Donnafugata wine.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.